a minute, she nearly had me convinced. I almost bought into those erroneous notions. Today, everyone, as my colleague indicated earlier, I am Troy Windet, and I'm here to add to the lucidity of those misconceptions that instill in your minds with regards to intellectual property and monopolistic practices. First and foremost, let us scrutinize Microsoft and their respect for intellectual property. There have been several allegations where we've seen Microsoft facing lawsuits due to some form of copyright infringement. In 1985, Microsoft was sued by Apple for copyright infringement. In 1988, Microsoft was sued by Apple for copyright infringement. In 2007, Microsoft was sued by Paltalk for copyright infringement. And in 2007, Microsoft was sued by FI for copyright infringement. You notice a pattern here? No. Oh, alright. I'm sure there are many more, but let's just examine one of them. In September 1985, Apple's attorney threatened Microsoft with a lawsuit after its release of Windows 1.0, which infringed on Apple's copyrights and patents, and his corporation, Bill's corporation, stole Apple's trade secrets. The case was settled outside of court when Microsoft drew up a contract, giving the impression that they would refrain from using any more of Apple's patented features. They went to court over an infringement of this contract 2 years later. In September, question, Kim?
No.
Now, examining the situation using the right approach to ethics, which states that an action is wrong if it breaks the code of ethics or moral laws, regardless of the outcome. The U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, reserves exclusive right to authors and inventors of their creations, clearly violated by Microsoft. The ACM Code of Ethics, Section 1.3, which speaks to being honest and trustworthy, Section 1.4, which speaks to honoring rights include copyrights, were all broken. Clearly, then, using this theory, Microsoft was wrong. Now, let us look at monopolistic practices. In the clear breach of the Sherman Act, which in short says that every person who shall monopolize or attempt to monopolize or combine or conspire with any other person or persons to monopolize at any trade with any part of the trade or commerce among several states or foreign nations shall be deemed guilty of a felony. Microsoft has been sued several times over regarding attempted monopoly. In 1998, the United States Department of Justice, on behalf of 7 states, sued Microsoft for abuse of monopolistic power with regards to their web browser, Internet Explorer. Microsoft bundled Internet Explorer with its Windows operating system after presenting several falsified videos before the court of law. Microsoft finally admitted that it made downloading of other internet browsers a complex, frustrating process, and at the end of which the browser icon was not placed on the desktop. Instead, the user would have to search the program files to find the icon. I propose to use the active utilitarianism point of view to analyze the situation above. This theory states that one should examine all consequences of an action before carrying the action through. Did Microsoft do this? Seen as Microsoft already bundled Windows with Intel, making itself the leading OS operating system, their actions would affect several groups: the users, the owners of machine running OS, and the employees and owners of companies that produce their own internet browsers. Choosing to bundle Windows with Internet Explorer in a manner that made downloading of external web browser cumbersome, Microsoft has essentially taken away users' choice of OS, since most consumers would forego such complicated processes. This robs these consumers of exploring other options and making informed decisions. Now, by hindering the download process of other browsers, Microsoft would have severely affected the popularity of some browsers, limiting their clientele to tech-based customers who might be more willing to go through a complex download process. That is because the Windows OS comes with IE, and most persons who use the PC, personal computer, they're not tech-based, so they just use it for like day-to-day office work. They wouldn't go through the extent that Microsoft was pushing them to take to get other web browsers. Alright. The employees of other companies are put under more stress to produce a browser that will work efficiently with the leading OS system without knowing the code of the system, and despite the system's manufacturer effort to block such smooth implementation. They may also lose their jobs and become financially unstable if their department or company was to go under. Microsoft, on the other hand, gains more revenue and popularity for its web browser, which may or may not be the best option for available users. Which, like, proven, Google Chrome is the best web browser, personally. Proof.
No, this is not.
Is it quite obvious then that Microsoft acts only within its own interests, regardless of the outcome to other groups who are both directly and indirectly affected by their actions? Now tell me, ladies and gentlemen, is the action of this organization ethical or unethical?
Disregard of all parties involved.
Thank you. All right, we have a 2-minute break.